Coach Turner. We are back for yet another episode of Take It to You with Coach Steve Turner. I'm Kurt Cross, your host. That man sitting across from me with his Deer Park water and 2 cell phones, donning the Gonzaga gear, is none other than Coach Steve Turner. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, Curtis? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm better than I was a week ago. Thank you for being the guy you were just a week ago when we had a little family thing. We had a little hospitalization, and things are looking better. But thank you for being that guy who, well, we all know who you are, right?
I hope they do.
We all know who you are. If they don't, they need to know.
They're going to have to try to figure it out and find out.
Are they going to figure it out and find out? That's not the way I usually hear it. How's it going, man? Talk to me about your week.
Unbelievable week, man. I was blessed and honored to have an opportunity to go see one of my former players get married this weekend.
Time to not jump the broom?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Let's give that man some love.
Jordan Abdul-Rauf, class of 14. Maybe one of the best athletes I've ever had a chance to coach. Mm-hmm. He used to fly through the gym and put down some unbelievable dunks.
I may have said his name a time or two.
I think you definitely did. and he was able to, he was blessed.
Right.
He leveled up.
Leveled up?
But I'm going to say they both leveled up.
Okay.
His beautiful bride, Abby,
mm-hmm.
Pine, and she is getting ready to finish up becoming a doctor at Duke.
All right.
Former soccer player.
By the way, Duke, one of the top 20 universities in the country. U.S. News and World Report just came out with that. I read it this morning. Duke is on that list. Number one, I think, is the Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Columbia, UPenn. Duke is in there. So is Chapel Hill.
Well, these two, they're a power couple. They're going to be a power couple.
Okay, all right.
It's Jay-Z, Beyonce part 2.
All right.
I mean,
now, where was this? This wasn't local.
This was in Maine, and they got married on her parents' farm. Beautiful place. But we're up in Maine where
You were dodging what?
A hurricane.
Did it rain outside?
It did rain.
Okay.
The rain hit us. But we were under a tent.
Oh, okay.
Nothing stopped.
Right.
People sloshed on some boots and suits.
Keep the party going.
And kept the party going. But I was really, really happy for him. And just even more honored that he thought enough of his old high school coach to ask me to come be a part of his special day.
What's the impact that coaches make, mentors make, and educators make, right?
We try to. And certainly I feel like I was able to make that impression on him because we've stayed in touch ever since the day he left I Street. And I just couldn't be more proud of one of the young men that I've had an opportunity to, call like a son. And to be able to see him on that special day, tying a knot to the one he loves. First time I saw him was probably 14 or 15. He graduates, he's 17, maybe 18, but he's a grown man now. Yes, he is.
What is he doing these days?
He's out there in that business world.
Okay.
But he's also, I used to say this, and I guess I could say it the way I want to say it, is I always said Jordan would be the next black president.
Right.
Because he's just so intelligent. Mm-hmm. He's so caring.
Right.
His ability to relate to any and everyone. He's so forward thinking.
Right.
I just always knew something big would happen for him. And every time I turn around the corner with him, something new and big is happening.
It's happening
with him. He was able to do some unbelievable things while he played ball at Cornell. Mm-hmm. And he started creating his life while he was there.
Right.
And you just see it every time you turn around and talk to Jordan. There's something new blossoming, and I know there's so much, much more to come. And he's married an unbelievable young lady, and I just see the world being their oyster. And there's so much more that's going to come for the two of them, and I can't wait to watch it.
Will Maine be home for them, or?
No, they're actually in North Carolina.
Okay.
But Maine is where her.
Well, she's finishing school, yeah.
She's finishing up school. They bought a house down there, and
life begins.
Life begins, man.
I love it.
It's unbelievable. But the other part of that trip,
I was going to say, however, you turn a corner, the wedding's done, and then what?
Nah, before the wedding.
Oh, okay.
We had an even bigger one, maybe.
Right.
Is we're going to this wedding, and some of the town's names start ringing the bell for Leah.
Okay.
Well, lo and behold, close to where we were staying and where the wedding was is an area called Brewer.
Okay.
Where Leah's ancestors resided.
Okay.
Her great-great-grandfather owned 100 acres up there.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty well-to-do. He has a street named after her mother's maiden name, Lambert.
Okay.
And the house that he built and lived in was registered by not the current owner, but the owner prior to them. And so we were able to go see it.
Mm.
Coolest part of it is going to see it. We drive by it, kind of taking some video. And Leah was like, I'm going to take a picture. And I was like, well, I see somebody in the window. Why don't you go knock?
You really did that.
And she was like, I said, Leah, what can they tell you? Yes or no?
Right.
Unbelievable. The couple that lived there, just beautiful people, let us tour the house, took us around the yard, gave us some more info, and it was pretty darn cool.
I bet you it was.
It was pretty darn cool. So a huge weekend.
Right.
Beautiful wedding.
Right.
Leah having an opportunity to learn more about her, where she's come from.
Right.
And then
then what?
And then that last stop.
Talk to me about the last stop. It's always the last stop that gets you.
Getting a day to see our young fella,
right?
J-Rock. So we got to stay. We actually flew to Boston.
Okay.
We planned around this. Flew to Boston, drove to Maine, drove back from Maine to Boston.
Right.
So we could spend the Sunday with Jared, and so we got a nice day, hang out with him, buying me out of house and home.
Well, you made the stop.
So this dude's, new stuff for the room.
Right.
He's found a way to double up mattresses. Now he's got a king size bed versus a twin bed.
Oh boy.
So we had to go get new sheets.
Right.
We got to get new pillows. LED lights for the room.
I mean, incandescent lights ain't good enough.
They want. Then he wants to hook up the boys. Can we get some knives, some plates, some forks, it's toaster oven.
Good Lord.
Next thing you know, a nice bill on dear old dad.
So chump? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got me.
You got chumped?
He got me.
But what we won't do for our children, right?
And he's doing the right thing. So when they do the right things,
you got no choice.
It's usually pretty easy to get to dear old dad.
No, absolutely. So we got all that, and that's great. Not to be outdone by, you're one step closer to hoops and hoops maybe in the WCAC.
It's coming.
Chicago, right?
What Deion say? We coming.
Yes.
It's coming.
Right.
It's coming. I'm excited.
We getting some open gyms and all that good stuff going?
Open gym, workouts. Guys are really working hard. I'm really proud of them. There are, I try to preach and teach to any and every one of my teams is that my best teams have been player led. Okay. And I like the direction that this group is going. I think they're hearing me. They're hearing how much they've got to take ownership. This is theirs. I coach it, but this is theirs. And, that end result down the end of the road comes because of them buying in and doing the things that we ask of them. But I also feel like it's them taking ownership of what's theirs. And I feel like I got a group that's ready to do that. They're starting to grab the bull by the horn. And I know I've seen this before.
Okay. So you know what you're looking at.
So I know what I'm looking at. And I feel like if they can really go all the way in, this could be a year that some special things happen for them.
Okay. All right. I hear you on that. We go back to the weekend and my week and all that. Like I said, I thank you for who you were last week. Shout out to a few people, Ron, Perel, Rosie, and Steve, Jason, Keenan, Janelle. You guys checked in on us and were who we wanted you to be or who we needed you to be. Michelle down the street, she delivered some food to us, so we didn't have to cook this weekend. Everybody's fine, just so you know, guys. I won't get too much into it. But we had a little hospital scare with my mother-in-law. She's in the hospital now. She's doing fine, getting better, so we're good there. I was back in the press box, and I realized that I call WCSC games primarily for St. John's College High School and Military Road. And Adam goes to the game with me, and he has not been to a game with me since he was 9 years old. And I called games for DeMatha. So he got to be in the press box with me, got to be on the field, blah, blah, blah. And St. John's was victorious. We have another game against a team from California.
Stop with that we. Stop with that we.
Well, I mean,
I know what you do for them. But stop with that we.
Well, you could have had me too.
We working on that. So they better be careful because we coming.
You taking receipts too?
I keep receipts now. Trust me, I got some guys I got to keep receipts.
You sound like Doc Walker right now. You sound like Doc Walker.
I keep some receipts. I promise you that. And I got some guys that I might need to show them to.
Okay.
But that's a story for another day.
I didn't mean to get you riled up, Coach.
Yes, you got me there, especially with that.
All right, but I'm on their payroll for the moment. And it was good to get back up there and call some WCAC football. Some team from California is flying this way this weekend, and I got them. And we had an active week in sports, and we're going to get to that after our break. But also want to show some love and give some pub to the Be Hand Strong event in Olney. I don't have the numbers on that. I'm not as intimately involved in terms of how much they fundraised, but I heard it was an excellent time, a great time. I saw some photos. What do you know?
Saw some photos, know some guys who were there. Heard it was another great time.
The weather was great for it.
Was upset to not be able to be there, but for great reason why I wasn't, and certainly always going to be with them in spirit and in prayer because we want to see and hope and pray that some things can turn another corner for our guy Pat.
Absolutely, Coach. You want to take a break? You want to go right to the starting five?
Man, it's up to you.
You know what? I'm gonna hit the button. I'm gonna try to hit the button at least. Let's go. The starting five. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the starting five on Ticketio with Coach Steve Turner. I'm your host, Kurt Cross. Coach Steve Turner sits right across from me in this studio. We record each week, and we have something called the starting five. What happens in the starting five? Coach Turner gets asked by me 5 questions he's never seen or heard before, from me at least, and he has 30 seconds to answer them. If he does not answer them in time, that is what you will hear. Coach, have you seen these questions I'm about to ask you?
I have not.
All right. You didn't look at my phone, did you?
I have not.
All right. We're going to go. It's all about DC and it's all about food. All right.
Okay.
So we got maybe one non-food question. It's all about DC this weekend. All right.
Got it.
Maryland crabs or Carolina, Memphis, or KC barbecue, Kansas City barbecue. What would you rather have?
That's a tough one, man.
It's Carolina, Memphis, or Kansas City barbecue, or Maryland crabs.
I'm a Maryland man. I got to stay with my Maryland crab.
And, for me, it's the barbecue because I don't do seafood.
See, and it's funny that I say that because that's a tough one. Because I'm not always like, I think I've grown more into it, being the picker.
Oh.
That used to slow me down.
Okay.
And I've said, like, man, I do all this picking and for these little pieces of meat.
That yield ain't much.
If you give me the crab cake.
Okay.
If you were to say crab cake versus the barbecue.
There's no question.
Oh, there's no question, no brainer.
All right.
But if it was the picking versus, I might have to flip that and go with the barbecue.
All right. Philly cheesesteak or DC wings and mumbo? Steve, why are we hung up on this question, Steve? Steve.
That's tough. That's tough too.
You a DMV guy.
I'm gonna give the nod to my wings and mambo sauce.
Okay.
But you go get a good Philly cheesesteak in Philly, bro. Now, we ain't talking Geno's and Pat's, the commercial.
It might change your life.
We got to go to D'Alessandro's.
Okay.
Ishkabibbles.
Okay.
The different little spots that people don't know about.
Right.
In Philly. It rivals. I have to say it rivals.
I have a cousin.
I mean, we have kids. There's the Philly cheesesteak day. And there's like this high school thing that seniors do.
I don't know. Tell me.
They will, I guess I might as well call it a skip day.
Okay.
And people know about it.
Right.
But it's, got to go to Philly.
Right.
Get a Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
Get back before the school day's over.
Okay. I have a cousin, lives in Southern Maryland. He's retired. He'll wake up one day, he'll say, I want a Philly cheesesteak. And he will get on his motorcycle and go up to Philadelphia.
Now, I will say this, and I'm going to give Matter of fact, when I say this about this place,
okay,
I hope at some point they get to hear this or somebody lets them know that I'm giving them a major shout out.
Okay.
There's a butcher in Tacoma Park.
Okay.
At Ethan Allen, Carroll Avenue.
Okay.
Called SoCo Butcher.
Who runs it? Is it an Ethiopian cat?
No.
Okay.
It's family owned.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, if you want to get some good meats to throw in your grill,
mm-hmm.
worth the price.
Okay.
And they've got a lot of different things of all different types of meats.
Right.
As the kids would say, Paul's. But they got a Philly cheesesteak that rivals Philly.
Okay, I'm gonna go over there.
So if you want a Philly cheesesteak from the DMV, I promise you, anybody listening to this podcast, go check out SoCo Butcher in Tacoma Park, Maryland, on the corner of Ethan Allen and Carroll Avenue. I'm a Philly cheesesteak connoisseur, I have to say that.
Okay.
Because we do a lot of basketball up in Philly.
This is more than 30 seconds.
I understand that. But I have to put this disclaimer out here because you brought this up.
All right.
So they have moved into my top 5 Philly cheesesteaks of all time.
Steve, if you're saying that means I got to go.
It's that good. You have to try
I'll go
it.
tomorrow, Steve.
I'm telling you right now, you will go back.
I'm going to take a picture and send it to you.
Do it.
You called it.
Do it. SoCo Butcher.
All right. I'm writing it down.
And then I got to say, if we go the other way, though, the wings and mambo sauce, everybody must understand Hamilton's in D.C. has the best mambo sauce in the DMV, in D.C., period.
Okay. All right. You said it. Hamilton's got the best mambo sauce. All right, Steve, I'm going to take you to sports now.
Okay.
Doug Williams, 5 TDs in one quarter in Super Bowl 22, or Riggo on 4th down, sealing the game in Super Bowl 17. He ran 44 yards and sealed that first Super Bowl that you and I remember.
All hats off to Doug with that run, watching Riggo, watching it live.
With guys hanging on him.
With guys hanging on a jersey about to come all the way off. One of the best runs that I've ever seen in the game of football.
What's worse? MVA? Going to the MVA or sitting in D.C. traffic?
Going to the MVA.
That's worse than sitting in D.C. traffic.
At least in D.C. traffic, man, I got my radio on. I can plug a phone in and call somebody and have a conversation. Man, I hate sitting in the MVA.
All right. I hear you. They've made a lot of stuff online you can do now.
Yes, that's true.
But going to the MVA ain't your jam.
No,
that's not your thing.
No, sir.
All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot. Oh, boy, here we go. Better hoopers. Our immediate area here or Baltimore?
It's not even close.
Oh, boy. Say it out loud. Say it with your chest, coach.
See, when we say the DMV, that does not include Baltimore.
It does not.
So understand that for all those who are listening to this.
That's from like Laurel South, right?
Correct.
All right, Laurel South and going to what? Fairfax, Alexandria?
Northern Virginia.
Yeah, Northern Virginia. Woodbridge, though? You counting Woodbridge?
They're in the Washington Post, so they got a couple players every now and then.
All right.
But that ain't the area that we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about that area that covers that good old WCAC.
So you're talking about PG, Montgomery, you're talking Alexandria, City of Alexandria, right?
Northern Virginia, Fairfax, Arlington. Those guys are in the WCAC.
But you're saying Spalding and them schools up there, that's not a part of our...
Spalding is in, they're not even in our league.
No, I know that.
So...
What city are they in? I don't even know what city they're in.
That is a Severn area.
Right.
I count them as a part of the Baltimore Catholic
exactly.
League. So they get in the paper. They're like on that borderline. The Washington Post covers them, and so does the Baltimore Sun. They kind of get blessed a little bit because of where they sit. But that's not the area of guys I'm covering. Okay. You know who I'm talking about.
All the way down to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Viking, they WCAC, baby.
There you go. She's talking Ireton, McNamara. You're talking all them.
And I'm talking about the other guys too, the IAC schools,
right?
The MAC schools,
right?
Montgomery County,
Georgetown Prep, PG
County,
right?
This area,
right? You'll coach that team any day
of the week
versus Baltimore team.
Yes, sir.
All right, you saying it like you're serious, coach.
Oh, I'm real serious.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5. Coach, we're going to take a break in a minute, but I'm just going to let people know we're going to come back and talk about the talk of the town, the Washington Commanders. We'll be right back, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Yo, this on? From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner. I'm Kurt Cross. He's Steve Turner. We haven't done this in the past couple of episodes, just chop it up about sports in general. Coach, the NFL, the Washington Commanders are now 2-0. New ownership, all of that good stuff. Same old ratty-tatty stadium, but we got new ownership. Talk to me about the difference. Obviously, ownership is one of them, but what breathes this new life into Washington to the point where I'm not saying Super Bowl contenders, I'm not even saying playoffs, but you and I both know that the game we saw yesterday, they would have lost last year, the year before. You'd have seen the body language be different. You would have seen attitudes on the bench. They stuck together. I left to go to work, and they were down 18. Mm-hmm. I get to work, and I'm getting texts. Logan Thomas, with a TD, but he got banged up a little bit, and the comeback seemed real. Talk to me about what the difference is.
It's as simple as you said it. It's a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Snyder held us down for too long.
Right, and you don't mean hold it down like your wife holds you down.
No, not that type of holder.
Right.
He held us down in the chokehold.
Right.
And I always say we are loyal fans, probably to a fault. But right now, I think we're excited about where we have an opportunity to go. We're excited about the new breath of fresh air. I'm like you. I'm also a realist. I'm not calling for chasing the Super Bowl at any time right away. I'm not calling for even the playoffs this year. But this is a team that we can really get behind, a team that I feel like we can support because of where things are coming from the top.
Right.
They're breathing new life back into us.
Right.
And I think it's happening for the players too.
Well, and I heard something this summer. I think you probably heard the same thing. I heard a couple of guys belly aching about Eric Bieniemy's practices are too tough. Well, maybe they haven't been tough long enough. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't want to be barbaric, but this is a sport where this is a tough sport. And I heard Ray Lewis.
Well, hasn't he been around some winners recently?
He's been around a couple.
Hasn't he been around?
He's got a couple rings, right?
So
or three maybe.
So he's been a big piece to a formula of success and winning.
Right. So maybe you just sit back and shut up and get out of his way.
Sometimes we have to sit back and learn. Sometimes we have to understand that change can only sometimes help us grow and become stronger.
It's not comfortable, right?
And change isn't always comfortable.
Right.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Right.
Change isn't always comfortable. So right now, as the Commanders, still want to call them the Redskins,
right?
But as the Commanders, we got to be comfortable right now being uncomfortable. And I think if we are that, and then all the off-season stuff that we're going to need to have happen for us to become the team that can chase a championship happens, watch out.
I heard a middle school girl say at a convocation a couple of weeks ago, she's not thinking, she heard it somewhere, she's not thinking to step outside your comfort zone. She's saying expand your comfort zone.
I like that.
Expand that comfort zone. And I heard Ray Lewis say it one time. They had to come inside because it was raining outside, and they practiced inside. He said, man, we soft as bread pudding. This is football, man. It's supposed to hurt. This is football. But Eric Bieniemy, I was worried a little bit when we were down 18. That offense didn't seem like it was doing its thing. But you know what? For the second game in a row, it just took a minute for the motor to start going. And keep in mind, Howell has only started 3 games. This is his 3rd game. He started yesterday. Everything is new to everybody right now. So it's got to gel. In preseason, you don't see Sam Howell for, 4 quarters of snaps, right? So it's got to gel a little bit, and we got to be patient.
We have to be patient, and we still got to put pieces around him.
Right.
I mean,
offensive line.
One, we got to get a line so he can be protected and we can keep him healthy.
Right. That boy running for his life.
But I think he does some things back there, and he commands the respect of his teammates. And I think those guys want to do well and do the right things in their positions for him to have success and for the team to have success. And we as the fans got to just keep rooting these dudes on, be patient, and allow for all the changes that are needed to be made within our organization and within our roster to give us chances to get back to, for me, the first thing, let's just win our conference.
Right.
And then we can chase some other things.
Right. Well, they look good, and they had the comeback. It was Robinson, right? Brian Robinson, maybe, who had a tough start to his season last year. Yeah. That young man Brian Robinson, ran for 2 touchdowns yesterday. McLaurin looked good, had a catch that had to be on SportsCenter top 10, right? They're doing some things. That defense yielded a few more points than I'd like to see, but when it mattered, and come on, man, doesn't everyone know that on a Hail Mary you're supposed to smack the ball down? They playing hot potato with the ball, let Russell Wilson look good, didn't they?
Here's what I just want to see for them this year. Win the games you're supposed to win.
We're going to get to Denver, too. They 0-2 now, by the way, with Russell Wilson.
Right.
Okay? So you say win the games that you're supposed to win. And that's what we want, right? Because we know those games. How many times have you seen a game where we're up by a touchdown or even 8 points and we leave a minute 28 on the board? Next thing you know, we're sitting in overtime
and taking an L.
Right? I've seen that far too many times.
I'm with you.
Howell's ceiling, where is it? I think for me it's too early to tell, but what's his ceiling?
I think it's too early to tell, but I think he's one of those guys. He put the right pieces. He I'm not going to call him elite of the elite as you know some of these guys to be in the league, but
right.
But I think a guy that you can get behind and can win with.
Okay, well, from what I hear, he came from, was it North Carolina or where did he come from? He played at North Carolina, and he set all kinds of records down there, but it doesn't necessarily always transfer over into the NFL. I mean, look at our guy who's on TV now, University of Florida, Tebow. He set all kinds of records, right? And he amounted to, can I be a tight end in the NFL, please?
Well, I think our quarterback has a more pro style. I think Tebow was tailor-made for what college football is.
Right.
He wasn't tailor-made.
In that Florida, or maybe
it was certainly as a quarterback, he
offense.
wasn't tailor-made for. I think he could have. I think if he had been a guy that transitioned early to like a tight end, Tebow could be still playing.
Right.
But I think we got a quarterback. Certainly got a quarterback that I don't have a problem getting behind.
Right. Okay. All right. I hear you. And where was I going next with this one? That defense. Who came back this week, Coach?
Yeah, Highsville boy.
Oh,
over there,
the Stag,
Madison Street.
Right.
But I love Chase. And matter of fact, hats off to that dude. We won a state championship a couple years back. He was down on the floor congratulating us.
All right.
Here's a guy who went to play for one of our school's biggest rivals.
Right.
And there he was on the floor, giving us love and celebrating with us.
Right.
And so anything that great goes his way, man, I'm there to support. I'm there to support and back him 100%. And I was glad to see him back out on the field this week.
I was a little worried because, he has been nicked up, but he made an impact. He's
special.
And, and the thing is, people don't understand what does not show up in the stat sheet. Steve, I promise you, and I have not sat on your bench, I promise you there's someone on your bench who's taking notes of the kid who dives out of bounds to save a ball, that there's no box for that in the stat sheet, right? Well, this is what he does. You don't run his way, or he turns you back inside. He turns the run back inside for those big D tackles to make the tackle. And he doesn't always get the tackle, but you have to account for him.
Oh, no doubt.
You have to account for him. It's like in the NBA, a guy who blocks shots or alters shots. It's not in the stat sheet, but you got to figure him into the game plan, right?
Every day.
That's Chase Young for you. Let's talk about the Aaron Rodgers effect. We touched on it last week. I don't know if we got the answer by the time we recorded, but it's torn. The Achilles is torn.
Yeah.
My only concern, unless it's just scuttlebutt, is him talking about trying to come back for the playoffs.
That's crazy.
It takes a year. If you get a great doctor, it takes 9 months. If you're superhuman, it might take 8 months.
Right.
We're already into April at that point. The playoffs are done, Mr. Rodgers.
He needs to take care of himself first.
Right.
Rushing back to try to get back for playoffs isn't smart.
That's a 3.5 month turnaround.
I mean, it sounds great.
Right.
I know it's something that maybe their fans want to hear.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
if you care about him as a human,
I care about him a lot because I've been a fan of him as a quarterback, and if he's going to do this anymore, which I'm not sure he should,
right,
come back fully healthy.
Right, that's an Achilles at 40 years old.
I know the injury. I had one.
Right.
It ain't as easy as people think.
Totally off topic. Did we just sit here and watch 13 years of Steph Curry? Because he's going to be 36 this year. Just like that.
Yeah.
He's 35. He'll be 36 in March. I mean, we were talking with the kids about it.
Well, we touched a little USA basketball.
Right.
And where the league is as a whole. Like, there's a major transformation happening in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Those all-stars that we watch and love over the last 13 to 15 years, they're about to be on their way out.
KD
and
Steph,
it's
right?
and we got a new breed that's
do.
that's coming and that we're excited about. I hope that we can implement them and have them more involved in the U.S.
right
program. Because we saw a little bit here in this World Cup. The other nations are coming for us.
That FIBA was nasty.
And we've got to get ourselves prepared so we can be ready for the Olympics.
Let's go back. I jumped off for a second. Let's get back to the NFL. The Dolphins, Ravens, Cowboys, Washington, Philly, Falcons, Bucks, 49ers are all 2-0. Any surprises there?
I don't think so.
I'm surprised by Washington.
I mean, I thought we had I'm not surprised because I did say in this beginning of the year, looking at their schedule, I thought they could win the first 2 games.
Okay.
And
what's going to happen this weekend, though?
Well, you got a Buffalo Bills team that struggled in their first week.
Right.
Found a way to get the job done this week.
Sure did.
They're upward ticking, and they're a team that could chase the Super Bowl.
And they can drop 40 or 50.
So for me, this is going to be a real good test. Playing a close game against them, if we were to lose, would be a win.
Okay.
Because like you said, they can drop points
right
anytime. And so
and Steph is coming home. Stephon Diggs is coming home.
and talking smack.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I just say it's early in the year because we said for week 1, it was about defense. And so now you're watching these teams. I'll tell you who I think is a surprise.
Who's that? Atlanta?
Jerry's World.
Oh, the Cowboys?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, them Giants were nasty.
I'm just being a jerk right now.
Well, the Giants,
they've got a good team, but I expect them to do what they always do.
They always do well at first.
Yes, I expect them to do what they always do.
Okay. The Giants, by the way, almost went to 0-2, and they came back and won a game. Surprised the hell out of me. The winless teams are Arizona, the Bengals, Patriots, Chargers, Vikings, Broncos, and Bears. None of us expected to see old Joe Burrow at 0-2 right now. Their offense looks pathetic.
I wouldn't have expected them being 0-2 and, the old ball coach. I didn't expect them to be 0-2.
That doesn't surprise me because we've seen them have some fair to middling beginnings, and then next thing you know, they made the damn playoffs.
I'm with you.
So the Patriots, you can't count him out.
With those two, I would have figured that those two teams would at least been 1-1.
I would have thought the Vikings would. I mean, I lost my survivor pool first week rooting for the Vikings.
Oh wow!
So the Vikings and I didn't expect. I will tell you something. Joey T. Going back to the winners, Joey T. did tell me the Bucks weren't as bad as I thought they were, and now they're 2-0. The Bears. I hope that young man out there gets it together.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying he's doing anything personally wrong, but maybe the system. I don't know what's going on out there in Chicago. I have some Chicago friends who really root for them, but the Broncos. What's going on with Russell Wilson?
Can't figure it out.
That's Sean Payton at 0-2 out there.
I hope they get it turned around.
I hope they do. I'm not a Sean Payton fan.
Well, I'm a Russell fan, and I want to see him do well. And he's, I feel like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders right now.
Right.
But I like to see them turn it around just for him.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Yeah, I would say Arizona doesn't surprise me, but the Bengals, they definitely surprise me. Let's move to college football. Alabama does not look like the power Alabama that we know. They're 2-1. They don't usually take a loss this early, but if you're trying to make, a playoff down the road, taking it early is where you take it to a number 11 team, but they've only mustered up 41 points in their last 2 games. They barely beat Central Florida or South Florida. What's going on over there?
QB, of course.
Right.
I don't know that they have a guy right now in the fold that matches the last few guys that they've had where they've been chasing the national championship.
Okay.
Certainly everywhere else they're really good.
Right.
But right now that's a big concern. And when you've now played 3 quarterbacks in 2 games or 3 games?
3 games.
3 games.
It's a carousel.
And you're Alabama.
Right.
It's a big question mark looming over your top of your head.
My question with them as well is, have they been ill affected by the transfer portal and guys having options?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think
they're still Alabama, of
that
course.
and just the whole landscape of the changes to college football,
right?
With the superpowers and the conferences changing,
NIL stuff, so kids are going where they can get money.
Yes, and and those guys are still able to get the top high school kids, but other guys are getting better because they're going and getting men who've been around for a little while longer, and maybe they don't have the names, but physicality and skill and time on the field can make a man out of you,
right?
Real quick and allow you to be a little better than some of the young men / boys coming into your ranks.
I'm gonna do it. I'm about to do it. Is Dion the real deal? Is Coach Prime the real deal? 3-0. There've been some close ones, but they've been hella exciting.
He's got. I've always said that if you can get your kids to believe,
right,
which is no pun intended, and it's his motto,
right,
that anything can happen,
right.
They are. I thought the last 2 wins were wins that they should have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't sure what they would do in that first one against TCU,
right?
But they won that game. Now they're gonna next 2 weeks.
They got Oregon and they got USC.
We're gonna find out what they're really made of.
There you go.
And they're gonna be without arguably their best player,
right,
who plays both sides of the ball,
right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what
3 weeks maybe.
They're saying maybe 3. They still haven't announced what the injury is.
Okay.
But losing him against those type of teams could be costly for them.
So you're saying Caleb Williams might pick them apart, huh?
Yeah, but they all have a chance. And I hate to say this because that's my boy. Now, Caleb and them could put up numbers, but their defense isn't great either.
Okay.
So I think the real test comes this week.
right.
Oregon, who's got a team that's really good on both sides of the ball. I think we'll get to see what the Colorado Buffs are truly made of.
Well, and I want to touch on something real quick that has a little less to do with football and more to do with the world of social media and all of that. I wasn't a fan of people giving Dion a hard time for leaving an HBCU to go to Colorado. And I'll tell you why. Dion, was in a system in Jackson State, which was built for black ball players. It's an HBCU. And in doing so, there was an open door and there was a lot of opportunity. But my thought is, number one, I'm not going to blame anyone for quote unquote feeding their family. He's not starving, but feeding their family. And I'm not going to blame anyone for opening a door that can open another door for so many more as well, where that door is not always open. So I have no problem with him going to Colorado. I have no problem with him talking the talk. I have no problem with him doing his damnedest to walk the walk and to bring excitement. You know how fast those tickets sold out in Colorado? He's a commodity.
It's crazy.
People want to see him, and they want to see what he's going to do.
It's not just what's happening for the school. It's Colorado. Like, he's changing revenue in that state,
right?
Just for what he's doing right now with the program. So it's not just what he's doing for the lives of the young men who are under his care and in his program. It's the whole, it's the state, the cities.
People don't get it, Steve. This is the economic impact. You sell out and you haven't sold out in God knows how long. That means people are coming from out of town. That means people are paying tolls to get there. That means people are paying for hotels. That means people are going to restaurants. That means they're visiting museums. They're putting money into the economy. Those tax dollars are at work. This is what it means to do something like that. Do you know how much merch they've probably sold? Versus, they probably sold more merch in the first 3 weeks of the season than they sold in the last 3 seasons total.
I believe it.
They got Paula wanting some Colorado gear.
Wow.
You remember what I did? I got that University of Texas, what was it, El Paso. San Antonio, something. It was the Roadrunners when Coach Casey was here. But that's what happens when you get excited. UTSA, they were undefeated. I'm going to buy their gear.
Right.
And that's what you bring there. And they got us talking about it on a podcast where a year ago, you and I would not have even mentioned the Colorado Buffaloes.
Unless they got blown out by somebody.
Right. And we're talking about Alabama blowing them out or someone blowing them out.
Right.
Right. But that's the effect that one person can bring and their philosophy can bring in to a program that's worth millions. And that's student athletes can do that. And that's why NIL is so important as well.
Well, I think the other pieces that no one really talks about, and I'm gonna say it now, is as a dad, we're both fathers here.
Right.
I hear from many. Our job is to do an uplift for our own.
Right. Reach back, right?
Well, reach back, but for our own. I'm talking about his children.
Right.
Not just the kid, not all the kids who are in the program. Mm-hmm. He's got a son who's right now in the talks.
Right.
Heisman.
Right.
Would he have been in the talks doing it again at Jacksonville State?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Right.
So is he wrong in taking an opportunity to want to do a whole lot? Because he's growing a program, but I'm going to go to family. Is he wrong for taking the chance on giving his sons and his daughter, because she moved from the HBCU to now playing in a Big 12 school? So he's got 3 of his kids who are now being given, and even more than that, because the other part of his family is doing other things that aren't on the field or on the court.
Right. He talks about all of them, yeah.
So this man's uplifting his family, and it's not because he needs money.
Right.
But he's been given an opportunity to give more opportunity.
Right.
I can't knock him for doing that.
And you know what people would not do? They wouldn't feel bad if for him, they're giving him a hard time now because he's got the spotlight. They wouldn't feel bad if he failed, right? You can't be pissed at him on one side because he's doing this and then on the other side laughing. I mean, come on. You know, he's taking it for richer or for poor, for better or for worse. He's doing this his way. And I've never been a huge Deion fan, but I've never been a big Mayweather fan too. And so I really looked at the body of work and I'm like, all this smack that Mayweather talks, ain't nobody beat him. He's backing it all up, right? And Deion so far is backing it up. And if he takes a loss or 2, it doesn't matter. They've already got more wins than they had last year without Coach Prime.
And we know now.
Right.
More people are going to come because they see what the opportunity he's created and the platform that some of these young men who want to play at the next level and be able to learn from a guy who did it unbelievably at the next level. Right. Why wouldn't you take a chance on going to play for him?
Right. Why not?
And I think he's obviously shown how much he deeply cares for the young men that he's working with.
Right.
And if I'm a parent, if I had a kid who's in college football and he was at that level, I definitely have to have my son considering that situation.
I'll tell you what I have done this year that I've never done. I ain't never watched a Colorado Buffaloes game. I've watched 3 so far this year. They're 3-0.
I'm right there with you.
Hold on. Maybe we're the good luck charm. Hey, man, let's turn our attention to the WNBA. The Aces, the Sun, the Mystics, the Liberty, they're in the mix, as well as the Atlanta Dream and a few other teams. I think Minnesota might be in the mix. But can anyone stop the Aces and Asia Wilson?
Nobody can stop the Aces but the Aces.
Right. I mean, they beat, Asia had a million points yesterday. They beat, I don't know who the hell they were playing, but they beat them by 22 points. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean,
they are fun to watch.
Yeah, they are.
They play good brand of basketball.
Right.
They play for each other.
Right.
And with each other. And they're always feeding the hot hand.
Right. It doesn't matter who it is, right?
Doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't matter who it is. I think I hope we're looking at Aces New York. I hope that's what we're going to see.
I was going to say this. New York might be the only team that can take them down.
Right. And I think New York took 3 out of 4 from them this year.
Yes.
So it's going to be something to play for.
It's going to be a fun championship if that's what we get.
Oh, by the way, and I have to give props to Paula. She did win our Family Showdown WNBA Fantasy Championship. She beat Adam. He doesn't want to hear that. And she got her earnings yesterday. So she did do that. But WNBA has continued to grow the game, but I'm most impressed that the NBA continues to back a league that at times doesn't make money. They've improved. I mean, you'd be surprised what the average salary is now versus what it was 3, 5, 10 years ago.
Crazy.
I mean, I love it. And that's thanks to Taurasi. Mm-hmm. That's thanks to Sue Bird. Yep. That's thanks to, I mean, even someone like Setu Sabali. She had a great season this year. I did not pick her on my fantasy team this year because last year she disappointed me. She balled out this year, but we're not going to talk about that. But props to the NBA for continuing to support a league and making sure that the women get their just due, that the women, more games each year are on TV. And, people ask the question, why is it not more popular? We have to continue to watch and we have to continue to support. That's just all it comes down to.
That's really what it comes down to. I think if some of the people who I know follow the men's game that the way that they do, if they ever just took a couple opportunities to go watch the women's game live,
right,
they would become bigger fans.
You know me. I'm all over
They would
it.
become bigger fans.
A few of my girlfriends are in the WNBA. They just don't know it yet.
I say this all the time. If you're a coach out there and you want to learn plays, it's nothing better than watching the women's game.
Right.
Because they run their plays. A lot of times in the men's game, we get caught up in this one-on-one stuff.
Right.
And playing to the superstar status.
Right.
But if you want to watch a game get played the right way, where people are running plays and
you see them back screens
playing chess,
right?
Watch women's basketball
and watch it in the WCAC because we got some good hoops.
Oh yes, we do.
And we got some good ballers over there, Coach. I'm gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about what's going on in our street. All right.
Sounds good.
We can do that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it.
Dynamic DJ Entertainment, creating a non-stop party, one dance floor at a time. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
We are back, Take a TO, with Coach Steve Turner. I'm Kurt Cross. He's Steve Turner, WCAC coach. He's been Gatorade National Coach of the Year. He's a USA basketball coach. But I want to know, put all that to the side. I seen you in the Bahamas coaching the young men and dapping them up and all that. I want to know what's going on I Street. I hear some big I hear there's a traffic jam on I Street. Talk to me about what's going on down there, brother. You got some visits coming, right?
I don't know if it's a traffic jam, but we have had a lot of faces coming through. And
you haven't had any NCAA Division I faces come through, have you?
Quite a few.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm listening, brother.
Quite a few. College coaches were able to start coming out on the 9th.
Okay.
And in that time, we have had...
One or two schools?
One or two schools. I mean, a pretty big list. And I may miss some folks, but I'm going to try to get you as many as I can.
Okay.
Thus far, Georgetown, Towson, GW, Butler, Loyola of Maryland, JMU, Manhattan, St. Mary's of Maryland. We've had... Coastal Carolina, Delaware, ODU, Syracuse, Virginia, Howard, Pittsburgh, George Mason.
Some of the Howard sits used to be with you, right?
Yes, sir. T-Bone Thornton.
All right, that's right, Mr. Thornton.
Miami, UMBC, Villanova, Maryland, Notre Dame, American, ETSU. And the list keeps growing.
All right, you got anybody coming through soon?
Most recently, Purdue, Furman, and Providence. And then today,
just today,
Penn State and Temple.
Right.
And sounds like tomorrow we could have Marquette, Virginia Tech.
That's D-Wade Marquette.
Oklahoma State, Kansas are slated to all be in the house tomorrow. And I think a couple others.
We're not talking just regionally. We're talking about across the country. Coach, I got to stop and say something. I forgot to say this. You got some competition. There's a young lady who was at the St. John's game selling them chocolate bars with the almonds in it this past weekend. I might have bought a handful of them. So tell your crew down there on our street to get ready because I got some dollars to spend on these chocolate bars. But, Coach, why they don't put as many almonds in them as they used to? There ain't as many almonds, Coach.
Hey, we got to talk the world's finest on that. I don't get to control the almonds. We just get the boxes and we sell them so we can fundraise for the program.
All right. I know that's what y'all do. Are we talking about a Purple Eagle Madness? Hoops Mania?
I think Hoops Mania could be back in the fold this year, Coach. So we got to get ready for that.
All right. I got to open up my calendar?
For sure.
All right.
You know the date. It's that Friday.
Day after
after Thanksgiving.
I mean, I've got the pyro. I mean, we can do some things.
I want to do it big. We've been away from it for a while. I definitely like for it to be big. And
I'm sorry, I might be at St. John's that day. Sorry. If you can see the look this man is giving me, Coach. You know, if you want me at Hoops Mania, you know where I'm going to be.
I expect nothing less.
You know where I'm gonna be with the sound system.
But I understand if they putting big dollars in your pocket, we got to take care of your family.
I'm gonna say this publicly on the podcast now. I am committing to. You know what? Do I have a Gonzaga hat? I'm committing.
Yes, sir.
To Hoops Mania.
You got Gonzaga hat. You got Gonzaga polos. You got Gonzaga t-shirts.
I do. I have all that. Don't I?
I
got some sweats too.
You can't tell me that you get more gear from them than you get from me.
I don't.
As long as I know that.
You hooked up Paula's father. You hooked up everybody.
Because this is family.
I think my son might have a lacrosse stick and everything. I know how it goes. I know. Y'all hooked me up. I've got purple. If I have nothing, I have purple. Coach, I'm not gonna drop a bomb on you, but we're gonna give them a segue to what we're gonna talk about next week. Next week, we're gonna talk about what's wrong with the high school and college game. We're gonna talk about the transfer portal. We're gonna talk about NIL for the good and the bad. And we're going to talk about all those things that are going on that we wish would not go on. And we're going to talk about reclassing. We're going to talk about some stuff next week.
Let's go.
We're going to talk about some stuff next week because you've never been shy about putting it out there. And I'm not saying that he's putting out anything wrong, but there's some fundamental things in this game that have changed over the years and maybe not for the better.
I just want to be able to do a job of helping families see the pitfalls before they fall into it.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that everything that's going on in these areas that we're going to talk about next week are all wrong. Right. We just want you to be aware of how to navigate and handle them. Right. And if I can give my best advice in those areas as I've seen them, I had to live them because I have a child in the middle of this stuff too. I want to be able to just continue to give, serve, and help the people in our community understand what they're looking at and what they need to be able to be prepared for.
We're going to jump in next week, so don't be shy next week, folks. We're going to talk about it next week, the good and bad, because it might be reaching back to the middle schools now too, right?
It ain't there yet.
Right.
I mean, you go back to the transfer stuff. I mean, in the reclassing, yes, that's been there.
Right.
But as you talk about this NIL and transfer portal, that part's hitting high school.
Right. So we're going to talk about it, folks. I'm Kurt Cross. I love hosting this every week, this podcast, Take It To with Coach Steve Turner. He is Steve Turner. We're going to come back with a new starting five next week, and we're going to jump into some transfer portal and some high school and college sports and what's right with it and what's wrong with it. Coach, you have a good week, and I'll text you, but I'll see you next week.
You do the same.